This one is called the Mandukya Upanishad. Among the Upanishads, it's the smallest, shortest. It has only 12 verses. Only 12 verses. And it deals with a subject that is so important that in these 12 verses, the whole thing is kind of looked at very carefully. This is the Upanishad on which great teachers have written commentaries running into several thousand pages. But it has only 12 verses. Adi Shankaracharya, who was one of the earliest commentators, wrote a commentary on it. He also wrote a commentary on it based on another commentary written by his teacher's teacher called Gaudapada. So you can understand how important it is for these people, for these philosophers and researchers into things which are spiritual. Now, the normal explanation, the simple explanation for this is that stands for creation, the beginning of everything, because it's a basic word. And even people who can't speak can say so it's basic. Most languages begin with A is of course alpha. So, and therefore it represents the beginning of things, creation. And U is the middle. You use the middle of your tongue to say U. So it means that which has been created is preserved, carries on for some time. And then you say Om. The mouth is closed, which means the ending of things. You can't say distraction, you can say regeneration. Because if you have to produce another word, you have to open your mouth again. It's closed. So that represents the end. So it's a cycle. Creation, preservation. Some clever person told me one day that God means generator, operator and destroyer. Well, could we play words, but makes sense. So this is one meaning of Om, which is commonly known. But Mandukya Upanishad deals with it in a different way. It says that the sound of in Om represents the state of consciousness. We must remember that this Upanishad does not deal with what you should do or should not do or anything of that kind. It looks at the different states of consciousness that we all human beings experience, common experience. One is the waking state. I hope we are all awake. The waking state. So that is the waking state. This is a common experience for all human beings. Then the U is the dream state. Swapna, it's called Swapnavastha, the dream state. It's also called Tejasa, which means that which is lit. Why? Because in the dream, your eyes are closed and actually there is no light. But in the dream you see everything in light. So it's called self-lit, Tejasa. So these are two states which we all understand. Waking state, Jagrata. Dream state, right? And then Ma, when your mouth is closed, it means the end of all things, deep sleep. Deep sleep when you don't even know where you are or who you are. Bliss, heaven. Right? So, now it examines these three states carefully and shows us that these states are so relative and therefore not absolutely real. Like, example, this you will find in the commentaries. In the in the dream state, let's start with the dream state. In the dream state, you dream that a tiger is chasing you, right? Now, while you are dreaming, can you call it a dream? No, it's very real. In fact, even when you wake up, your heart might be pounding and you might be sweating because it was so real at that time. But when you wake up, it's a dream. Right? There was a great king in India who was called, name was Janaka. Janaka was a king, he was also a great yogi, a rare combination of an emperor being a yogi. Now, Janaka had a dream once, and in the dream, it was a pretty long dream, he dreamt that he was a beggar, torn clothes and a begging bowl in his hand, with sores all over his feet, in great pain and hunger, going around begging for food. And then he suddenly woke up. He woke up. Oh, he realized that, oh, I'm a king, not a beggar. But then it was so real at that time. He asked his teacher, who was a great sage by name Yajnavalkya, "Sir, can you please tell, am I a beggar or am I a king? What if this dream had stretched for long?" So happened that I woke up and found that I'm the king, but what if this dream had continued? I had no control over it when I was dreaming. Would I have continued as a beggar or am I a king? Please explain this to me. And the subject matter of the Upanishad is that he says, the teacher says to him, "My dear, in the waking state, the dream state is unreal. In the dream state, the waking state is unreal. And in deep sleep, there is nothing. You don't even have your identity. It's nothing. And yet, it was a blissful state, because when you wake up, you say, I slept so beautifully." So there was something which you are not aware of then. Then he says there's a third state which is called Turiya. And when you say Om, that last sound in Sanskrit it's called Ardhamata. That means when you ring a bell, the ringing has stopped but it's going on. You cannot define it actually. I mean, it's a sound, but it's kind of. Now that is called the Turiya. Turiya is the witness of all these three states. There is a witness, right? Someone watching waking state, someone watching the dream state, and someone enjoying deep sleep. You wake up and say, "That was nice." So there is a common witness to all these three. The Rishi explains that while these are relatively unreal and real to each other, the witness is real throughout. And that witness is your true identity. That's what you actually are, the witness, which goes through and sees all these states but is not affected. It is purely a witness. The word used in Sanskrit is Sakshi, witness. That, says the Rishi, is your true identity. This is what you are, the spark of the divine, which is a witness to all that is happening. While it is a witness, it's actually not involved in it. He says when you understand that, then you are full of freedom and bliss, because you're not caught up by anything, you're unbound. So these are some of the important Upanishads. There are others like Mundaka Upanishad, various other Upanishads. But we can't go into all the 11 principal Upanishads. At some point, maybe when I come again next year or so, if you're interested, we can take up the study of one Upanishad and follow it up till the end. It will take 3 days, at least, minimum, can't do it in 2 hours. It's impossible. But I think now those who have come for this would find it easy to, not easy but better to go to the Upanishads. Because you have now an understanding of what it means or what it could mean in essentially. Before I wind up and we have an interactive session, I would like to tell you another story from the Upanishads. It's a nice little story. Two actually. There is an Upanishad called the Chandogya Upanishad, an important principle Upanishad. A teacher sends his son, a rishi sends his son to another teacher, for some time to learn what he calls satya, the truth. So he comes back. So the father asks the son, so you were with so and so for so many years, so did you learn the truth? The son says, yes, I have. The father says, if you have really learned the truth, you would never say that I have learned the truth. Because where you are not, the truth is. And then he says, okay, you know, we have something called a banyan tree. I don't think we have banyan trees here. It's a huge tree that spreads out and it has roots that come down from the branches and again go down. Some of them grow very big because they're called supporting roots. They come out from the branches and again go down. It spreads. Dangerous thing to plant near buildings. And very soon the foundations come out because the roots go in. Now these, he says, look, there's a seed of a banyan tree out there. Bring it to me. So the boy brings the young man brings the seed to the father. What do you see? He says, I see a seed. He says, open it, split it, peel it. So he peels the outer layer. He says, what do you see? He says, I see two cream-colored kernels, K-E-R-N-E-Ls, inside. Okay. Now he says, peel it again. Now this is the actual method of teaching in the Upanishad. It's not as if the teacher says, this is the truth, you take it, accept it or reject it. It's not like that. It's through experiment, through dialogue, through understanding. Peel the kernel. What do you see? He says, I see some tiny seeds like mustard seeds inside. He says, take one of those mustard seeds and break it open. With great difficulty, it is very small. What do you see? He says, I see nothing. And he says, it is from this nothing that this entire banyan tree has come. That spreads. And he says, that nothing is the center of you also. You are also in your center, that nothing. When you say nothing, it means no thing. It's not a thing. It's beyond a thing. Nothing actually means nothing. We don't think about words, how they have acquired their meanings, you see. So, this is one of the stories from the Chandogya Upanishad. The other is about three students who also are the sons of illustrious rishis, teachers, who go to another teacher called Uddalaka Aruni to study the truth. Now there's a reason why the fathers send their children to somebody else to learn. Because you know how it is. When you teach, they don't learn. Somebody else. And first of all, oh, this is my dad. But when you go to another teacher, so they are sent to another teacher. And also because when there is an emotional attachment, it's not possible to teach without prejudice. We had a very good surgeon in my hometown. He used to do the most complicated surgeries. But when it came to his son's surgery, he found another doctor. So we asked him, but doctor, why? You are supposed to be. He said, yeah, that's true, but you know, I am emotionally attached to him. So I can't do this job with the precision that is required because I am emotionally involved. So, in the same way, they are being sent to another teacher. So, these young people introduce themselves and say, we are sons of so and so. the Rishi said so, illustrious teachers of course. So we have come, please take us as your students. We want you to be our teacher, Guru, and teach us the truth, the absolute truth. We don't want anything else. The Rishi says to them, stay with me for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, I will teach the truth to you if I know the truth. Very significant. The thing is, after living with the teacher for 3 months, the students might decide that this guy doesn't know the truth. Well, they can go back. If they stick on, perhaps something will come out of this. So you understand what the implications are in this matter. And so therefore there are two things that are important to understand the truth. Not to understand the Upanishad, because Upanishad is basically meant to understand the truth. The Upanishad is important only because it takes you to the truth, not because it is the Upanishad. Right? So basically one requires, like the Upanishad definition, to be intimate, to know each other, to sit and learn in a very intimate manner. And that the aspirant has to be very serious about it. Upanishads are not studied to develop yogic powers or to fly in the air or levitate. They are to find the absolute truth. So unless one is dedicated completely to find the truth, Upanishad, there are other things that can be studied. Mantra, yantra, tantra, but so that's why the teacher told the students, be with me for 3 months. Because 3 months is sufficient time, kind of, to figure out if this guy is really searching for the truth, or is searching for something else and is thinking that he's searching for the truth. And whether they are ready to understand. Are their minds unprejudiced enough to delve into these matters? Plus, are they suitable for him, for this particular teacher? The Sufis have a tradition. When a student comes to them and stays with them, after a while, if they find that the student is very sincere, but he would not benefit from the method which they teach, they have no problems in saying that, look, you're fine, but find another teacher. Because a spiritual teacher is not in the business of gathering disciples. A spiritual teacher's worth is not judged according to the number of disciples. Sometimes there may be only one. It's a serious matter. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can have an interaction now if you have anything.
People can ask you questions
Yes,
now.
yes, that's what I meant.
Did you tell us what knee meant?
There you caught me. You caught me. Yeah. Yes, we missed it. You might have thought I don't know.
No, I don't. That did not cross my mind.
I'm joking. So, knee, the middle syllable knee means, it means the position, the relationship between the teacher and the taught. The word knee means down. Down meaning at a lower level, which defines the student at a lower level than the teacher. In Hindi we have a word niche. It's derived from knee, down. So, which means the teacher is at a higher level spiritually, not sitting in the chairs or anything of that kind. It's a higher level. And the student is at a lower level, which means the student has to understand first that he does not know, or she does not know. Because the moment I say I know, there is no inquiry at all. So when the Upanishad is taught, the mind has to be completely open. Whatever you know has to be put aside for the time being, so that it doesn't act as a barrier to what is being taught. Ni represents that position between the teacher and the taught. Where, now for instance, in this subject you must have heard or taught or learned many things from different teachers, let's say. Now when I sit down to talk, if half the time the mind is engaged in comparing between what you heard and what this fellow is saying now. Now when this mind is split in comparison, half the energies are comparing. There is no full energy to understand what is being said. So, which means an open, unprejudiced, clear mind which says, well, I don't know, let me find out. This is very important. It's like an empty vessel. You cannot fill a vessel which is already full. Plus, if you need to pour water into something, you have to keep the vessel down and pour it, even physically. You can't keep it up. This is not possible. Right? So this is the indication. The word, the syllable ni, defines the position between the teacher and the taught. Not that the teacher is big and I'm small. It's not that. It's the attitude that is defined. Now on this I want to tell you a lovely little story from the Zen tradition. There was a Zen teacher, great Zen teacher, who had a student who was a very learned professor. So one day the professor went to him and said, I've been with you for so many years. I still haven't got Satori. Now Satori is illumination. According to the Zen teaching, Satori is enlightenment. So I haven't got Satori yet. So teach me Zen. Teach me enough Zen so that I get Satori and I'm enlightened. The teacher says, sit down. You know, Zen masters are sometimes very peculiar. When they say sit down, you better sit down, otherwise you'll get beaten up sometimes. They're mad. Madness is a good thing, you know. I think when you say perfectly sane, there'll be no genius who was perfectly sane. Somewhere it has to be. So anyway, which means your ordinary logical and rational framework has to be shaken out of it before one can become creative. So the Zen master said, okay, shut up and sit down. I'm going to make tea. So he makes tea. This man is saying, what is this? I asked him about Zen and he's making tea. Such a trivial thing to do and so on, but he can't open his mouth. So the man makes tea and there's a small table like that. He puts the cup there. You know, in Japan all things are ceremonies. Everything is very ceremonial. So even making tea and offering tea is a big ceremony, the tea ceremony. So he makes his tea and pours it into the cup. And he keeps on pouring. The cup fills up. But he doesn't stop. He pours. He pours. The tea comes out and is flowing down the tablecloth. After a while, the professor says, sir, the cup is overflowing. And the master says to him, your cup is overflowing. How can I give you Zen? It's full already, so you can't pour anything into it. So that need represents that attitude of being open and empty to receive. Therefore, at the lower level. That's very smart, you got it. I was wondering why nobody's asking me about this.
Well, that's really important.
Yeah.
It's an
very
important part of learning.
In fact, for a human being, both the knees are important. You can't even stand up. The most common surgery now is knee replacement.
So open and receiving, but not seeking.
Yes, seeking, of course.
But for what do we seek, brother? We seek the truth. Is that a perception?
Yeah. We seek the truth. To seek the truth first, even to get the impulse to seek the truth, one has to first get convinced that what one has now is not the truth. Right? So when one sees the impermanency of the world, it's here today and gone tomorrow, what you see here is not there tomorrow. So when you see the impermanency of the world, some people begin to think, is there something permanent behind all this? Or am I to live always in this world of impermanence? I won't call it an illusion, because when it lasts, it's not an illusion, it's there, but it is impermanent. And what is impermanent cannot be real. I'm here today, I'm gone tomorrow, how can I be real? So, to seek the real in the midst of things which appear unreal to us on close examination is the beginning of the seeking. Right? Then you seek, and as you seek, and when you become serious in your seeking, and you say, now this is the most important thing, to find that which is permanent, which is lasting, which is not something that is here today and gone tomorrow. When one becomes very, very serious about it, and everything else becomes subsidiary, now the student is ready. And it's about such a student that it is said, seek and ye shall find. And when that seeking starts, then you start knocking at doors. And when you knock enough, it shall be opened unto you. And then you figure out, after knocking in many doors, that someone can possibly give you what you want. And then you ask with complete sincerity, ask and it shall be given thee. So, this is very important, that seeking. It becomes the only burning desire of the mind to seek the truth. And it happens to many people, different people in different ways. Some people begin seeking only when they find themselves in the midst of sorrow. So sorrow is a great gift in many ways, because it says, it tells you, look, this is not all there is to life, there's something more, must be, otherwise why is this sorrow affecting me? In fact, if life is always pleasant, I think nobody would look for the truth. It's only when you're banged a few times that maybe there's something else, can't be. Plus, to search for the truth, you don't have to run away from the world. You don't have to go run away to the forest or give up all the work. You can't actually. One can't. You can run away to a quiet place, but you can't leave your mind behind. It goes with you. So the better to calm down your mind in the present situation, whatever situation. Babaji used to tell me that if you go to a cave and meditate for 13 years, sitting in a cave, 13 hours a day, and then say, now I'm free of anger and jealousy, violence, and my mind has become calm. Once he asked me, what are you jealous about in the cave? Who are you? And who are you angry with? There's nothing there. And he said, I'm not violent. You don't kick the cave, You don't know. When you come out of the cave, get into a bus, want to come home and somebody kicks you in the crowd, especially with a stiletto heel, then you know where you stand. Right? So, this can be understood only in the midst of society. While you live in this world, then only we can really assess ourselves and find out. Of course, short periods of solitude are very good. Having said this, I must say this also, that short periods of solitude help you to regenerate, recover from the wounds of day-to-day living. That's true. But that's not a permanent solution. When you go and regenerate yourself, come back and test it in society while you're here, before you decide, okay, now I'm free from jealousy. Now, this jealousy is one of the strangest diseases that man can have, because it is nothing to you. Somebody is happy and you're unhappy. I don't know why. He's done nothing to you.